I'm taking care of a local farm for a few weeks. They left me a strange set of rules. Part 3. The author of this thread is blairdaniels. When I fed the goats that evening, they still seemed mad at me from the morning. With all the pig business, I hadn't gotten their morning meal to them until nearly 10 a.m., and as I entered the pen they eyed me warily. A brown one bleated, with a look of betrayal in its slit pupil eyes. My last task of the day was picking up the unsold produce. I hurried down the driveway, garden hod in my arms, an audiobook playing through my earbuds. The sun hung low in the sky, casting shadows that stretched across the driveway before me. The sun wasn't setting yet, that wouldn't be for another hour, but it still made me nervous. Most of the produce was gone, but I grabbed the 3 remaining zucchini and put them in the hod. Then I turned around and hurried back up the hill as fast as I could. But when I crested the hill, I saw something in the fields that made my heart stop. A scarecrow. Its arms stretched out at its sides. Its head hung limply on its shoulders. I couldn't see it in detail, it was too far away, but I could see its silhouette clearly. I immediately broke into a sprint. Just get inside. You'll be fine. I focused on the white door. It was still so far away, but I forced myself to stare at it, to keep my eyes away from the scarecrow. Just run. As fast as you can. And I made it. I slammed the door shut, drew the deadbolt, closed all the curtains, checked all the other locks, and then I collapsed onto the couch and called my boyfriend, Derek.
You have to come here. There's someone out there, and I ran inside, but I think...
I rambled on in incoherent sentences until he interrupted me. Wait, slow down. You think there's someone out there?
Yes.
Are you sure? Derek was a good man, but he often thought I was being a little too paranoid, a little too scared. When I insisted I was being followed home from work, he told me it was probably nothing and just some guy walking the same route as me. When I heard sounds in the middle of the night, he insisted it was the house settling. When I watched true crime shows and told him how we need to do X or Y so we don't fall victim to a crime like that, he'd just laugh. It wasn't intentionally mean, but in these moments it was painfully obvious he'd grown up as a man, with little to be afraid of in this world.
Yes, I'm sure. They said the farm doesn't use scarecrows, and there is a fucking scarecrow standing on the hill. Watching me.
I heard a loud sigh on the other end.
Are you saying you don't believe me?
I didn't say anything.
You sighed.
Okay. Sorry. It's just this sounds really... Never mind.
Please, just come over here. I'll explain everything.
Why don't you come over here?
Because if I go outside, the scarecrow will get me.
And then I realized that sentence did sound pretty unhinged on its own.
Listen, there's been really weird stuff happening on this farm.
And then I launched into an explanation of everything, the list of rules, the sunflowers, the cornfield, even the pig man. Why didn't you tell me all this earlier?
Because you wouldn't believe me. You still don't.
I'm trying to. This sounds like a lot of ghost story type stuff, you know? But look, I can tell you're upset. I'm coming over, okay? I'm leaving right now. Be there in a half hour. I ended the call and stared at the curtains. For a minute, I was tempted to part them to make sure the scarecrow hadn't gotten closer, but I wasn't going to disobey the rules. When Derek arrived, I took every precaution to get him inside safely. I told him to park as close to the house as possible, look around for scarecrows, and then run as fast as he could. As soon as he was inside safely, my fear melted away. We put on a movie, had some good laughs, and then went to bed. But around 2 a.m., something woke me with a start. And when I sat up, I realized Derek was gone.
Derek? Where are you?
When he didn't reply, I walked downstairs. I found him standing in front of the window, peering outside.
Hey! You're not supposed to look outside.
There's someone out there. My blood ran cold. I joined him at the window and scanned the fields.
I don't see anyone.
No, there was definitely someone out there. His fingers inched towards his belt, and my heart plummeted when I saw the shiny black metal sticking out of his pocket.
You brought your gun?
You said you were scared? Said someone was out there. I didn't really believe you, but now I do. Aren't you glad I brought it?
No. I never want to be near that thing.
Okay, we can have some stupid debate about gun rights later. Right now, there's someone out there, And if we just go back to sleep, we might not wake up in the morning.
Derek.
I'm just telling it like it is. I crossed my arms and stared out into the fields with him. And then, just as I was about to turn away, I saw it. A shadowy figure, walking along the edge of the sunflower field. Derek didn't waste any time. He unbolted the door and swung it open. Hey! Get off our property. I've got a gun. The figure stopped, paused, and then sidestepped into the sunflowers. Before I could stop him, Derek ran out of the house.
Derek!
I shouted, but he didn't stop. I paused at the threshold, and then I sprinted out after him.
Come back!
Fuck! He was running straight for the sunflower field.
Don't go in there. You can't go in there, sunflowers.
Yeah, you told me. They're evil or watch you or something. I think I can handle myself. And if I don't scare this fucker, he's going to come back and rape or murder or do whatever he came here to do. With that, he disappeared into the foliage. I stood there, panting, at the border of the field. He'll be okay. I lied to myself. He'll be okay. As the adrenaline faded, I lifted my head and scanned the flowers. They were all turned towards me, yellow petals appearing silver in the light of the full moon. Okay. It's okay. They're all pointing the same direction. See? Wait. There was a single flower, in the center of the field, turned away from me. My blood ran cold.
Derek, come out of there.
No pounding footsteps, no rustling, nothing. A chill ran over my body.
Please, come out.
And then I heard it. Help! I reacted instinctively. My feet hit the dirt and I stumbled into the darkness. Leaves brushed my body, scratched at my arms. The sunflowers stretched up, 6 or 7 feet tall, their moonlit heads swaying in the breeze above me. I turned a full circle, looking in every direction for Derek, but all I saw were more stems, more leaves, more inky black shadows.
Derek? Where are you?
I stopped walking and listened, straining my ears for any sort of sound. And then, after several seconds, I heard something, a soft rustling. There was just one problem. It was coming from right above my head. I looked up. The sunflower directly above me was tilted straight down. And this close, I saw it clearly. Its head wasn't full of seeds, no, where the seeds should have been, there was just an abyss of pure black. And there were things between the petals and the abyss, white, sharp things, all pointed towards the center. Teeth. I broke into a sprint. With both arms, I pushed the sunflowers out of the way, forcing myself through the field. I screamed, but all I heard was more rustling above my head. As all the sunflowers tilted towards me, as their mouths opened and rows of sharp fangs, gleaming in the moonlight, descended towards me. Then something grabbed my arm. I was dragged through the fields, the foliage snapping and rustling underneath me. I screamed, but as my legs kicked against the dirt, I realized I was powerless as I was dragged to my death. I was staring up at the stars. I shot up. The thing clasped around my arm wasn't a sunflower, it was a hand. An old, wrinkled hand. I looked up to see a bowler hat and a dark suit. The old man from the farm stand. And there, several feet away from me in the dirt, was Derek. He was breathing hard, but his right arm was covered in dark blood that spilled out into the soil.
I think it's time we had a talk.